All right, let's get right into it. Have you ever wondered what stuff really looks like? I mean, down at the most basic level possible? Well, today, we are going to look at an image that seems to pull off the impossible. It looks like a direct picture of atoms. But is it really what we think it is?
I mean, just look at this. It is absolutely stunning, isn't it? You've got this perfectly ordered, repeating pattern. It almost looks like a blueprint for matter itself. What you're seeing here is a material called a PVO catalyst, which is used to make chemical reactions happen faster. And this image seems to show us its atomic structure with just mind-blowing clarity. It really feels like we're staring right at the atoms.
But that brings us to the big question. The whole reason for this explainer. Is this what it looks like? Is this a genuine photograph? Are all those bright little spots actual individual atoms sitting on a surface just captured in a snapshot? Well, the answer is a little more complicated and honestly a lot more fascinating. To really get what this image is, we first have to understand how it was even found. Because let me tell you, pictures this perfect don't just show up. Scientists have to go on a pretty serious hunt to find them. Yeah, this is where it all starts. To get that beautiful, clean image, you have to begin here. This is the raw, messy, unprocessed data straight from a transmission electron microscope. That's a device that uses a beam of electrons instead of light to see on an incredible scale. As you can see, it's noisy, it's chaotic, and that perfect little pattern we're looking for is hidden somewhere in there. And to give you some perspective on that search, the tiny, promising area that the scientists picked out for their analysis, it represents just 7/10,000ths of the total original image. That's like trying to find one specific special grain of sand on a huge beach. And the way they find it is by inspection. Literally, just a scientist with a trained eye, scanning and looking for the faintest hint of a pattern. Okay, so once they found that needle in the haystack, the next step is to clean it up. How do you pull that perfect repeating signal out from all that background static? Well, this is where the magic of signal processing comes into play.
You can think of this as a three-step journey from total chaos to perfect clarity. You start with that messy raw data we just saw. Then, scientists use this really powerful technique called Fourier window filtering. The best way to think about it is like noise-canceling headphones, but for an image. It's designed to listen only for that repeating rhythmic signal from the crystal and just filter out all the random noise. And once that noise is stripped away, bam, the hidden pattern emerges in stunning detail.
The result was so good, so clean, that the researchers themselves said the correlation between image and model structure is striking. What they mean is the pattern they pulled out of the noise was an almost perfect match for the theoretical computer models of what that crystal should look like. It was just a huge win for imaging and data processing. So there we have it. We have our picture. We found it, we cleaned it up, and it matches the theory. Case closed, right? We're looking at atoms on the surface. Well, not quite. This is where we have to make a really crucial distinction. Yup, there is a catch. And it's a big one. One that totally changes how we need to think about not just this image, but thousands of others just like it in materials science. And you know, the original researchers actually gave us the key. They warned that what we're seeing is a, quote, map of exit surface electron properties. That doesn't really sound like a simple photograph, does it? So what on earth does that actually mean? This brings us to the real idea here, projected potential. See, a regular photograph works by capturing light that bounces off of a surface. But a transmission electron microscope, it fires electrons all the way through the sample. So the image it creates isn't of the surface at all. It's a 2D projection, kind of like a really complex shadow that shows the combined effect of the entire 3D column of atoms that the electrons just traveled through. So let's just break that down one more time. The myth is that we're looking at a photograph made from light bouncing off a surface. The reality is that this is a high-resolution transmission electron microscope image. It's not a picture of the surface. It's a map created by electrons that went through the material, giving us a projection of its internal 3D structure flattened into 2D. Okay, so why are we getting so hung up on this difference? Because in science, seeing something is only half the battle. The other half, the more important half, is knowing how to correctly interpret what you're seeing. So, let's just recap what this amazing image really is. It's a projection through the bulk of the crystal, not a direct picture of its surface. It's a map showing us electron properties, not the atoms themselves.
And to really truly connect this pattern back to the specific atomic structure, scientists actually need even more info, like the exact thickness of the crystal that the electrons pass through.
When you step back, this whole thing is a story of incredible scientific detective work. It took hunting through enormous amounts of data, using brilliant processing to pull a clean signal out of pure noise, and, most importantly, applying careful scientific thinking to interpret the result correctly. Without all that work, this beautiful atomic pattern would have just remained hidden in a stack of negatives in a lab somewhere.
And that kind of leaves us with a final thought, right? This image isn't just a picture. It's a rich, complex map of data that tells a deep story. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other scientific pictures that we see every day, from images of deep space to the inside of a human cell, aren't just simple snapshots, but are actually complex stories just waiting for the right interpretation?